Just a handful of days ago, I brought you guys reports that we had the actual design, which should be pretty close to the final design you're going to see announced here, hopefully, in a couple of months of the highly anticipated upcoming OnePlus Fold. Today in this video, we're going to jump back onto mysmartprice.com because, once again, the tech tipster extraordinaire at OnLeaks on Twitter has the details of not just what it looks like, but the actual specifications themselves. And some of these things are specs that we had heard rumored, things that I already reported to you. But now this is as close to confirmation as I think we're going to get. OnLeaks is extremely reliable. So these are more than likely the final real deal specs of the upcoming OnePlus Fold, and boy oh boy do they look extraordinarily impressive. Let's dive into these specs now. The first big thing to note here is it is rocking a 7.8-inch AMOLED display with a 2K resolution, as well as a 6.3-inch cover display, both running at 120 Hz. This is a big deal because this device, the OnePlus Fold, is thought to basically be a redesign of the Oppo Find N3, which is also yet unannounced. And of course, the N2 and the Oppo Find N original were much smaller than this. They were much more in line with something like the Google Pixel Fold, shorter and wider. It appears as though now Oppo and OnePlus are foregoing that route and indeed going to a more traditional, taller, a more standard-looking phone that opens up into a landscape-oriented tablet, more similar to the Z Fold, but without the super-duper skinny cover display. Some people are going to like this. Some people are really not going to like this. They're going to wish that they kept that smaller, shorter aspect ratio. Google now is the only one kind of sticking with that shorter aspect ratio. So it's definitely very, very interesting. But as we dive into the internals a bit more, we're going to be getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. So the fastest processor available on the market. I don't know if there's going to be an 8 Plus Gen 2 by the time this thing comes out. If there is, it's going to be just something that's coming out. But it will still be one of, if not the fastest foldables on the market. 16 gigs of RAM, 256 storage. So again, we're hitting top marks there. A 4,800 milliamp hour battery. So a battery that is just as large as the Pixel Fold, but with a more efficient processor, albeit bigger screens. But I would still expect this thing to have outstanding battery life. And then 67-watt charging. One of the biggest issues, again, talking about the Pixel Fold, is that the charging speed just isn't very fast. They say it's rated up to 30 watts, but I'm not getting 30 watts most of the time at all. 67 is going to be a big, big step up for a lot of people. Really, really impressive. Faster than Samsung as well by a good margin. The camera setup in the back. 48 megapixel primary, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 64 megapixel telephoto that is going to be, as you've seen in these photos, perhaps you can see there the square camera cutout. It is going to be a periscope, and because of that, they're saying they don't have it confirmed as to how much the zoom is. I would guess 5x is going to be where we're going to land. So very similar, again, to the Pixel Fold. But on paper, these are all very good, very solid camera sensors. This thing is looking to be an absolute beast. Selfie cameras will be a 32 megapixel for the front and a 20 megapixel inside there on the tablet display. It's going to be a hole punch selfie, no under display, and nothing there in the bezel, just doing a traditional hole punch for that tablet selfie camera. Now guys, this device is supposed to be announced quite soon, probably launching sometime this fall. We've all seen the image where they stood on stage at a OnePlus event and said fall 2023 with what was clearly a folding phone there on the banner. So hopefully we don't have to wait a whole lot longer to confirm these specs. And like I showed you guys in that prior video, I think from a cosmetic perspective, I think that the thing does look pretty good. Some people are not going to like the big round camera bump on the back, but that is very recognizable as OnePlus at this point. It's a design they've kind of used several times now, and I think that it looks okay. Now, there has been some talk that that sort of faux leather finish you can see on the back may be only one trim, one model. It may not be something that actually gets released. We're not entirely sure personally. I hope it does see the light of day because I think it looks really, really nice. I love different sorts of finishes. Everybody does glass or something like that. that, do these faux leather things. It adds some grip, it adds some durability, and it's something that I think more and more companies should be trying to do. In particular, we're talking about something that's going to be very, very premium. These devices are not cheap. They're well over $1,000. Price rumors have not yet arrived, although personally, I'm hoping for somewhere around $1,500. And the reason for this is because I ran my very scientific poll and determined that most people who are trying to decide between a Z Fold and a Pixel Fold don't care about $100 or $200. It's around $300 where people who are in Camp Pixel begin switching to Camp Z Fold and vice versa. So that $300 mark is where I believe OnePlus needs to be. If they can ship this thing at around $1,500, they're going to begin pulling people from the Google and Samsung camps to their device, in particular because this thing does look, from a hardware perspective, to be competing with the absolute top of the top in really, really good looking stuff. Guys, I'm going to drop a link to this article in the description down below. Do go click on it and give them a hit for the reporting that they did, because it is very, very important. These websites like that doing this kind of work get those hits and manage to stick around to bring us more and more news just like that. And for more news like this from my channel, hit that subscribe button before you go. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.